Good morning. It is another day of working in the shop, and we are back on the Spud truck. And today we got a couple of special tasks to do before we can start working on it. That's the problem with working on a project like this. Before you can do anything, you have to do something else first. So we're gonna try to get the something else done first, and then we'll see if we get anything else done after that. We're gonna do a little question and answer session right here at the very beginning, where I try not to spill gas all over the shop. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I think we'll be able to bend that. That's copper, so that's nice. So let me tell you why we can't put a fuel tank in here. So we're gonna be putting in a 4L85. It's gonna be longer than the manual box that's in here. And then in front of this is gonna be a doubler. So this is actually gonna end up about here. Now, this isn't the transfer case we use, and we're gonna be using one much bigger than this. Also, we don't want it to be below the belly because this is an off-road vehicle. So the belly bottom of the belly is going to be flat. So we're tucking this all up in here. So this is going to be about right here. And then right behind it is going to be a splitter. And then there's going to be another drive shaft right here that goes back to the back, the furthest back axle. This one will go to the front axle. And then over here, we have our exhaust system. And remember, it's not going to be below the frame, it's going to be up in here. There is no room for a fuel tank. Now, well, what about behind the back axle? There's a little bit of room there. Well, that's where our hydraulic pump, our electric hydraulic pump is going to be, and all of the hydraulic plumbing to run the bed. Theoretically, we could build a fuel tank that's probably like 9 feet long, 2 inches wide with a heat shield on it, 10 inches tall. They wouldn't be able to because we've got these things. I think this is the best place for it. This gas tank is in the way of us doing some work here. There is absolutely no way we could put saddle tanks on this. I don't know if you've seen how messed up the wrecker is, and it's gonna have a shorter wheelbase. Well, this is gonna be our fuel tank for a little bit. But Matt, why would you put a temporary fuel tank on it? Why don't you just put the real one? Okay, this should have, it does. So this is gonna go in here. We're gonna have to cut it. We're gonna have to shorten it. It looks like we need to cut up about 2.5 inches off. Regular shop would measure this, not us. So now it's in 2 pieces. That's what we wanted. Let's see if it fits. That's the most important thing. All it's gotta do is go in without bottoming out. Looks pretty good.
Nice.
I noticed that Colin missed a couple welds.
Colin.
Colin? Where is Colin? Colin is at Rudy's Adventure and Design working on his C10 truck with Rudy. Where's Rhett? Rhett is in Florida. The opposite of Florida. What's the opposite of Florida?
Alaska.
Alaska. Rhett's in Alaska fishing, looking at bears, flying in bush planes. He's having a heck of a holiday up there. I used that for the Brits because that's what they call a vacation. Oh, Matt, where's Caitlin? Where's Caitlin?
Isn't she at like a dance? Like
a music festival?
a music festival?
I don't know. She's at some music festival for the rest of the week. So pretty much I'm stuck here with Jake and Colby.
This poor guy.
Yeah. Jordan's gone. Hefe's gone.
Yeah.
Everybody's on vacation. It's not even very much summer and they're already on vacation. Okay, we're gonna bend this copper without kinking it. Jake, will you get under there and see how I'm doing?
Jake, don't start a fire this time.
Yeah, I'll try my best. Fire! Somebody give me a rat rag! Ah! Somebody crack a Mountain Dew! Quick!
Some people were very impressed with how that went down, and some people were very disappointed in us. I need a Mountain Dew!
When you scream, I need a Mountain Dew, no one's gonna take that seriously. I was like, oh, he's fine.
It's
And you're
fire
like, no, I'm
retard.
not fine.
Okay, Jake, we need a strap.
Okay.
Maybe, do we have a piece of metal that we could just temporarily
Yeah.
tack?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got you.
This is only gonna work as a gas can if it has a vent. So we're gonna have to drive it around with a lid off. Or we're gonna have to drill a hole for a vent. Oh. We did get some questions, and I get this. So understand, if I'm answering questions, I am not responding to trolls. I am literally just communicating with people who have legitimate questions. One of the questions was, why did we take the time to put this little axle on. And the answer to that is we couldn't get the shop door closed and walk around the truck the way it was before. So we needed to cut the back axle off. And to show you, maybe the video didn't show it very good, but this is where the mount for the front of the leaf spring was. So this is where one back wheel was, the other back wheel would be outside, and we'd have to drive it, nose it up in there. This shop is tiny. When you come to see the shop, you'll be like, wow, that thing's tiny. But we'd have to drive the nose of the truck up into here to get the door shut, and then we couldn't walk around it because there wasn't enough room right here. So it did make a lot of sense. Like, I don't know, it took us like 4 or 5 hours. We did it over a 2-day span, I think, but it didn't take that much time to do it. Little hammer.
Little hammer.
All right, that's not going anywhere. This could be, this could wrap around some things. We should probably
Just tie it off here.
Oh, I could just, let's just use up. Yeah, see? Colby, this is why I keep you around. It's not for your Corvair knowledge. While we're on the question and answers, we get a lot of comments like, those bolts would come out easier if you sprayed some sauce on them. Well, we never show it, but this time you're gonna get to see us spray some sauce. This is what it looks like. Spray, 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 spray. So now that you've seen us spray the sauce, you'll see why we always cut it out. It's very boring.
Oh, sauce was getting sprayed. And we're out.
All right.
All right, I might need
Okay,
some.
the next thing we need to do, how heavy is that? Can we pick it up?
I don't know. I'm at an awkward angle. Let me get over.
Whoa!
Okay, let's try now.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not light.
All right, I'll pick it up. You get that jack out of there.
Free.
Okay, I think we should set this. I'm gonna take these off. I think what we're gonna do is set this up on here, and we're gonna siphon it out into the gas jugs and pour some of it in there.
This reminds me, Joe Dirt.
This here ball peen hammer will trigger this ape.
No, don't cut it
Here.
out.
It's hard to guess where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Where's the fire extinguisher? So that is some nice 91 octane right there. Oh, Matt, why do you run 91 octane in everything? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it doesn't hurt anything that doesn't need it, and it keeps from hurting things that do need it. We drive Corvairs. They require 91 octane. I wish we could get 93 here, but we can't. I'd run 93 if we could. A lot of your cars have sensors in them to pull timing out if you're running lower grade. So yeah, they'll run fine on the lower grade, but you won't get all the power.
And that's crucial.
So like Jamie's Jeep likes 91, the P71 race car, it runs on 91. All of the sandrails, four-wheelers, motorcycles, chainsaws,
Everything here.
everything. And so we just run 91 in everything. So our pressure washer gets it.
Yeah.
Everything gets it. Spud truck would probably do just fine on like 75. So we have got an enormous amount of comments about the 1950 white Cabover truck cab out there. And why didn't we just leave it all together? And the reason it is because it's not all together. That white cab was picked up with a forklift, set on the front of that Isuzu NPR frame or whatever it is. It's some foreign job. It is not ready to go, and I'm surprised it even stayed on for the trip down. Now, we are going to be doing something super cool with that, but it's not the 6x6 Spud truck. And you just have to be patient while I dream up what we're going to do with that awesome cab. I agree with you, it's super awesome. All right, we've got to do 100 more of these. We'll come back after that's done. Good morning. Yesterday kind of got away from us filming wise, but I did stay late and got all these holes drilled and got all the bolts put in, but I didn't want you to feel left out, so I saved one bolt to tighten up. And there it is. So today, aside from working on this truck, I'm gonna be answering more of your ever important questions about what in the world is Matt doing? Starting with the Oshkosh axles. Let's go talk about that. Before we go talk about those axles, let's just set a baseline here. So this is a very typical rollback. This is what you're gonna get if a rollback shows up. I know there's smaller ones and whatever, but one thing they all have in common is a really long wheelbase and really low things hanging down in between those wheels and really low things hanging down after those wheels. We can't have any of that, and that's why we're doing some of the things that we're doing that are making you go, Matt, why are you doing that? The other factor we've got to be thinking about is deck height. It's got to be low enough that it'll actually work for a rollback. On to the Oshkosh axles. So these axles were never purchased with the intention of building a rollback with them. They are essentially sitting on the ground. The frame is already higher than it is on our rollback. So by the time we put tires on these, put a frame on them, put a bed on them, the deck of that bed would be almost 6 feet tall, or just over 6 feet tall. I'm 6'2", and that would put the deck level with the top of my head. All right, I was gonna show you, I was gonna tack all the pieces on here and show you what it was gonna look like finished. The problem is, there's more work to do on it before we can tack it, and with it installed, we can't get to the backside, and I'm just getting ahead of myself. So we're gonna pull this off, tack it all together, weld it all together, put it back on, and then we'll admire it together. Sure wish Colin was here to weld this, but he's working on his C10. That makes me sad and bored. I'm really bored with welding this. But we're just gonna push through. So I've had a lot to think about the mistake I made, and I'm trying to find a silver lining on this cloud. And the silver lining is it's gonna get a fresh coat of paint. I've got to find a door. I've got to find a clean desert door for this. This is a 1970 or 71, 72. We'll have Robbie paint it, but it's going back the same color blue. And it's gonna have some yellow racing stripes or something really good. All right, we were talking about the steps, and I said, we've got to get rid of this, or something to that effect. I wasn't saying get rid of the steps, I was saying get rid of the problem. So what we're probably gonna do is shorten them up. I don't know how much, but some. And then we're probably gonna put some rock sliders underneath them to protect them, because there's some vintage iron there.
About right there? Yeah, it is.
I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, that's legit.
We got a lot of welding left on this to do, but hopefully this kind of gives you a visual of what this is going to look like. Oh, that looks good enough. What was that?
I don't know.
We talked about how duals don't work well in the sand, so we're not even going to get into that. We're going to move right along. Got a lot of suggestions for super singles. Those are the big wide semi tires you see. They're just wide. They take the place of, 2 tires. They take the place of duals. Those won't work, and I'll tell you why they won't work. They're not compliant enough. I want you to imagine with me. We're gonna imagine right now. You're gonna have to stick with me on this. Tire diameter is more valuable than tire width. So let's take it to the extreme. A motorcycle has really skinny tires, and they can drive through the sand. They'll drive right through the sand. Got to be a skilled rider, but they'll do it. A go-kart has really wide tires, and let's just make those tires 10 times as wide. This big around, 10 times as wide. They won't go through the sand. Not at all. They will not. They have way more tire on the sand than a motorcycle, and they won't do it. When you air a tire down, it doesn't get wider, it gets longer, or effectively larger diameter. That's what the sand kind of sees, is a larger diameter tire. And the super singles won't air down like that. The sidewalls aren't soft enough to let the tire squish down and elongate the tread, so they are a no-go. And that's why we're choosing our favorite off-road recovery tire, Milestar Patagonia MT02s, because they are gonna dominate the sand in this beautiful Spud truck. All right, we're gonna let Colin come in and finish welding this because not only is he a better welder than me, he actually enjoys welding, and I just don't enjoy it that much. But I will help him get this welded. Let's lay this down. Let's drive this truck out of here. Let's work on the axles. We here at Matt's Off-Road Recovery take our sketchy gas can installation pretty dang seriously. That's why we use mat straps. If you'd like to secure your gas cans in a sketchy fashion, you can go to mattsoffroadrecovery.com, get your own set of mat straps. Mat straps are not designed nor intended for sketchy gas can installations. That's going somewhere. That's literally not a knot. That is just twist. I use the end of that like a twisty tie. All right, last time we were working on axles, you saw me have one all tore apart. Let me go show you where that is now. I'll give you a status update. It's not that axle. It's not that axle, but it's this axle. So we got it all tore down. We got it all put back together. I've got to put the brakes and stuff on it, so that's just loosely put together. But all the gears are in there, they're patterned, they're set, everything's good. The problem is this axle's a lot newer and it's got different style hubs and my brake kit won't work with it. There's some problems. So what I'm hoping I can do is use parts off of this one and parts off of this one to make the one that I need. And it's gonna be offset. Here, let me draw you a picture. Before I draw this picture, I'm gonna address another question we're getting a lot of. One of them is why are we putting truck axles, like pickup truck, light truck axles, under this big heavy rig? We're just gonna break axles. Well, it's not a big heavy rig. When we're done, it's gonna be quite light and made for sand and razors. But the axles that we have out there are rated for 11,000 pounds a piece. So with, I forget what the front one's rated at, 8,000 pounds or 6,000 pounds. So whatever, it's gonna be like rated for 28,000 pounds of load carrying capacity, like gross vehicle weight. It's gonna be plenty good. But here's the deal. So we're gonna be looking at this from the top. We have a drive shaft, we have a center chunk there, we have a wheel out here, and we have a wheel out here. This is the front back axle. 6x6s kind of mess up all the way you have to think about front axles, back axles. But that's the front back axle. It's going to be coming straight out of a splitter right here. It's going to look like a transfer case. We're making a splitter out of an NP205. In front of that is going to be an NP205. In front of that is going to be a Magnum box. In front of that is going to be a 4L85. And in front of that is going to be horsepower. How to say it? Horsepower's. Oh, in front of that's going to be more power, baby.
More power, baby. More power. More power, baby. More power. More power.
James, I love you like a son. So we've got the Magnum box here, and then we got the 205 in. It's a new process. That's what MP stands for. 205, and then we got an NP splitter. It's going to be the NPSP. This will have power coming out of it, going into the splitter, and then this will have a drive shaft going up here to the center chunk, and you have to imagine it goes under the front of the engine there to another one. All right, now this back axle, we've got a problem. I can't stack the drive shafts on top of each other, and I can't pass through this differential. Why didn't I just get a pass-through differential? I'm gonna nip that one in the bud because I just didn't, and I'm not gonna. But check this out. If we move the chunk to here, which comes with its own set of problems, but we're gonna solve them, and then I put a carrier bearing right there that's mounted to this axle, like welded to a bracket, then I can run my drive shaft out of here to here, and then from here to here, and now I can drive both back axles. So this isn't radical thinking right here because that's what we're doing with the front axle already. We have a very offset, the differential is very offset to one side. It's going to work just fine. But what we've got to do is we've got to graft some pipes together, and they've got to be straight, and they've got to be strong, and they've got to be effective, and they've got to be dynamic, and they've got to be. I'm out I'm out of adjectives. So, oh, and this, I know we already covered it, but let me show you something. There is going to be a link that comes up here and connects to the frame. There's gonna be a link that comes up here, and that's gonna be my anti-wrap. This is my frame rails, and then I got my exhaust coming out of here, and it's gonna go to a big old muffler right there, and then it's gonna dump on the ground, and there's no room for a gas tank in there. Oh, and behind this back axle, the frame ends pretty quick, and in here is gonna be my hydraulic pump system, HPS. But all we're trying to figure out right now is that. That's what we're working on right now. And to do that, we're gonna have to start taking this apart. Jake?
Yes, sir.
Dismantle. Ooh, I like that. So all three axles are getting the Dana Spicer Power Lock. Dana Spicer Power Lock is my favorite kind of posi, and so should you.
Oh, I need a sauce containment system. Sauced. Yeah.
We've got to do something evil.
Oh.
We've got to start cutting these up and then hoping we can get them back together.
That's pretty evil.
All right, we've got to take some measurements. We've got to figure out where our cuts are, where our marks are, how we're gonna do this. All right, we've got these oriented correctly, and that will help me think. Jake, can you pick this up and put it
Where you want it?
right there so it won't tip over?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Is 71 3/4, and that's what we need.
Okay.
71 3/4. This one is going to be far narrower. This one is 69 1/4. So how much do we need to subtract to get the center line there? So from the center line of this to there is minus 9 inches. I need to take 9 inches off of this thing. We just need it to rotate, see?
Yeah. All right, let's get it. Yeah.
Jake will show you exactly.
For those of you that think I will never get this axle straight again, I'm just gonna let you know, I have the axle straightening rod of justice, and I'm gonna bring it out. I'm gonna show you how I use it, and it's gonna be straight again. Okay, well now we straight up done it.
Yeah.
I gotta do it again over there. Oh, look at this thing. It is never gonna be the same again, but it is gonna be right. And if it ain't right, it's gonna be pretty close to right. All right, I've just been informed it's the end of the workday, so I'm losing my entire crew. I'm gonna keep working for a minute though. I'm gonna cut this other one, I'll show you that. I don't know how long I'm gonna stay here and work, but I do know that it's gonna be messy. We're gonna lose our camera guy, so you know what that means. The film quality is gonna go to what? Low, pretty single digits. It's gonna be single digits. We're gonna go from 100% filming to 11%. All right, I got this one cut off right there. Cut it off at 15 inches, and that should make this about where I want it. Told you the filming was gonna go downhill. That's gonna go right there. All right, I'm gonna clean up, and it's gonna be tomorrow like this. I told you we'd be right back. So it is the next day. That's such a weird thing to say. In real life, you would never greet somebody by saying, hello, it's the next day. But on YouTube, it makes perfect sense. It might be a little cringy to some of you, but you're like, I'll let it slide. It's the next day, and this is what we're working on. Hey, Peanut. So here's the deal. we've got a lot of work to do on this. So I went to Schultz's, I found some pipe. It was a little bit larger outside diameter than this. That's where I ended up getting it. We've got that dropped off at the machine shop. They're gonna turn it down to 3.261. It's not really gonna be a press fit, but it's not really gonna be a slip fit. So that area between press fit and slip fit, that's what we're gonna do with this. All right, so that leads us to the next question, and that actually is the same question I ask myself hundreds of times a day. What's next? What do we do next? There's a couple things we can do. We can finish the brakes on this axle, and then we can clean it up and get it painted. We still have some welding to do on it, but we can touch up the paint there. There's lots of stuff we don't know. We don't know the pinion angle yet, and we're not gonna know that for a while. This one, we can clean it up. We can get the rest of the brackets and stuff off from it. We can pull the ears out of it and get it all cleaned up, beveled, and ready for welding. I think that's what we're gonna do. It's not very exciting work, so we're probably gonna time lapse most of it. So there's a lot of people that think that we have a crew off camera that does all the work for us, and they're about 7 years late. I'm just hoping they show up one of these days. So our boy Jake is, I don't know how to describe Jake. He's like, always, he's a battery charger. He's the kind of person, when you hang around him, you just feel better. So,
He delivers one-liners constantly.
yes. One of his most prolific catchphrases is the sauce. I got the sauce.
So I spent 5 minutes on Illustrator. Boom. Hey, Jake.
Am I free yet?
Yeah, come out here. This is how much I love you.
Whoa, what? Dude, look at this guy. He made a saw shirt.
We got the boo.
No way.
We got the glass clean, the PB, brake
Yo.
clean, Tapatio,
Dude,
and the classic.
dude, that is rad. Colby,
Not for sale on mattsoffroadrecovery.com.
limited edition.
Let's just set this, and then wash it off.
Yeah. Well, it's finally nice to see you, not just on YouTube.
So they said that this is, you built this, right? This is handmade.
Everything is by hand, so we Dremelled everything.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Look at that.
We figured you were getting a new shop, and so we wanted to go big and bold. Small is cool, but you guys do everything big.
Big.
So cool.
I know where we're gonna put this. I'm gonna show you. This was handmade and gifted to us by our friends at Road to Solitude. It's going right up there.
Oh yeah, that's a showpiece. Watch your step.
You're gonna have to use your imagination, but it's gonna go straight up there after the sheetrock is done. Good. Okay, just hold the air on it. That's the end of today, pretty much. We'll see you tomorrow like this. Good morning, we are back in the shop. The weekend is behind us and the future is in front of us and the present is now. We got some exciting news. Colin's back from Rudy's. Rhett is back from Alaska. Caitlin is back from the music festival. Jake's always been here. It's a good thing that Rhett and Colin are back because we have lots of welding to do. I'm gonna put them on that headache rack, get that finished up. It's gonna be a good day full of welding and painting.
Those usually don't go together.
We're gonna do those in different rooms.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we are going to be welding up the rest of this headache rack, so let's get to it.
It's time to make this axle black. I don't want to say that. We're going from this color to black. Whatever. The rusty sandblasted.
Oh, you're at Hardee's. I love that we're not even trying to.
What's priming it?
Well, this side's almost done.
Oh man, that's looking good. Just need to hammer that over and cut it off. I want to take a second here and address some comments that we got about drilling holes in the top side of this frame. It's a big no-no. You should never do it. And then you watch us do it, right? Here's what I'm thinking. This truck's been around a long time. The factory drilled holes in the top of the frame. You can see them right here. They put the rivets through them. And then some farmers came back here and drilled a whole bunch of holes in the tops of the frame. Look how many of these there are. So not one of these holes have cracked yet. I'm pretty sure that mine aren't gonna crack. I'm just not worried about it. So we had a lot of comments that if we don't plug these holes, we're gonna get the wasps in there, they'll build nests and there'll be a problem. That actually doesn't happen here. If you ever see any wasp nests in any of these vehicles, it's because they were stored at a higher elevation up in the mountains. That's where the wasps do it. Down here in the Mojave Desert, just doesn't happen. All right, and then one more. Look how good this is looking in here. Good job, Caitlin.
Yeah.
All right, I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked how many of you viewers have sat on cactus. Did you fall or just?
Yeah, I just sat on it. Looked like a nice chair.
Did you read the comments?
I read a few.
Hundreds of you have sat on cactus. Now, I must admit, I myself, as a young boy, about 5, maybe 4 or 5 years old, I sat on a cactus, and I do remember it. So I'm with you.
I'm not alone.
You never forget. You'll never forget the day you sat on a cactus. So years and years ago, my friend's daughter did this for a class assignment. It says, hello, yeah, I need a tow. Oh no, my car is broken down. I better call for help. Okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And then I hook it up and it says, thanks so much. I said, you're welcome. That was the class. Now, what's awesome is the little girl that made this for me now works for me. She works up in the front office. Her name's Presley. And her art is hanging in my art studio. The reason we're not painting this cover is because we're getting a big, thick, heavy-duty Yukon cover on all of the differentials. So never mind about that. But this is done. This is ready to go in, Ed. And when I say...
You had to put your spring brackets on there.
You do, but I don't know where they go.
Oh.
I got to get the truck in here.
That and what about a shock bracket?
Yeah, we'll have to put a shock bracket somewhere. And it's also going to get an anti-wrap bracket on it, which we've got to design and engineer.
You pound them studs in again?
Yep.
Put them in? You need
Yep.
a gasket here, huh?
Yeah,
There's a gasket in it? Oh,
it's ready to go.
okay.
Big block, baby.
Oh man, that fits so much better. All right, that's not the right place, but you get the idea. Colin did a really nice job welding up this headache rack. It is beautiful. It's not done, but we are. So we're gonna see you next week, and it'll be like, well, longer than that.
Thanks for watching.
This is something they won't teach you in Boy Scouts right here. That half hitch double choke around the pipe through the gas tank of justice. That when they do not show, there's no merit badge for that.
There needs to be a badge for that.
There should be.